What's up, everybody? Welcome back to 2nd Street. It's Wednesday, August 21st, 2019. And in case you don't know, it's New Comic Wednesday. And welcome to my comic book pull list. Thank you all so much for tuning in to the 2nd Street Marvel today. My name is Trinity, and today I'm going to be going over my comic book pull list. But before I get into that, please make sure you subscribe, click the little bell, and all of that good stuff. Now, what is a comic book pull list? Well, if you don't know what that is, make sure you check out the video right up here. But normally I am in my local comic book shop. It's just been a very busy day, so I can't be there to do this film for you guys. But I am going to go over some of the comic books that I pulled for the week. And I'm going to be starting off with my Marvel books as per usual. But today I'm going to be talking about Ghost Spider issue number 1. This is the first in this series. They're just kind of rebooting it a little bit after the last series just ended on issue number 10. This book is written by the same person, Shannon McGuire. We've also got I can't remember, Miyazawa, Takashi Miyazawa doing the drawings, and Ian Herring is the person who colored this book. And I've got to tell you, the first Spider-Gwen Ghost Spider, I actually kind of like the series. It wasn't too bad, and I'm hoping I'm gonna get just about the same thing out of this series. If you guys like Spider-Gwen or Ghost Spider, you should definitely go check it out if you're into the female Spider-Man. If not, maybe not so much. But moving on, the next one I have here is Death's Head issue number 2. Now, I did get a chance to read the first comic book, and maybe I need to bring you guys that comic book review soon enough, and I'll do it along with this second one. But it was a pretty okay book, just something a little bit out there, a little bit different than the ordinary, and if you're into something like that, you might want to check it out. Moving on, the next one I have here, and I know what you guys are going to say, is Fearless issue number 2. Now, I did a review maybe a couple of weeks ago on Fearless issue number 1, and some of you guys might be asking yourselves, why did you pick up this issue number 2? Well, there's a couple of reasons behind that. For one, it's only a 3-issue series, and 2, I review comic books here on this channel, so that's part of the reason why I picked this up, and I can't wait to read this one, and so I can bring you guys that review for that. The next one I have here is, once again, Jane Foster Valkyrie issue number 2, and again, you guys might be saying the same thing when it comes to this. I can't remember if I dropped that video on here or not, that review. If not, maybe I should do that very soon. But again, Jane Foster Valkyrie, I do have some thoughts and feelings on that, and I'm hoping that this story kind of expands on what we've seen in the first issue a little more, because there's just some of the things in the first issue I thought seemed a little bit off for what should, I don't know, maybe how I feel it should be going. But again, I'm not a comic book writer. I just read comic books, so I guess we'll get into this and see how that is. The next one I have here, and oh man, if you guys have been paying attention to this stuff, this is something I would suggest you guys get out there and do, as there are only a few issues in, but that's Powers of X, issue number 3. Now, in case you guys don't know, Jonathan Hickman has been writing these, and they have been coming out every single week since they started these new series. They're sort of rebooting the X-Men in the Marvel world, and they're starting with House of X and Powers of X. It says Powers of X. They're saying it's Powers of 10. I honestly don't know. To me, I mean, it's got an X on there, right? It's Powers of X. But anyway, this is Powers of X issue number 3. I've liked what Jonathan Hickman has been doing in this series so far. It's been really great. The House of X has seemed to be it's got a little more meat and potatoes to it than these Powers of X have been doing. But if you guys are into this, I would suggest reading these Powers of X too, because they have some of the stories in here that I think are very pertinent to the House of X as well. And I think they definitely kind of serve each other well. The only thing I will actually say, just out of all these series I've read so far between the House of X and the Powers of X, I just kind of think they should have just done it all together as, just one full series, and just made it, just like the House of X, or just the Powers of X all together. And, I don't think any of us would have had a big problem with them doing consecutive weeks, each one coming out with each week over the next 12 weeks. I think a lot of us would have been okay with that, because it does get a little bit confusing with the House of X and Powers of X. They could have just done it all at once. I mean, they're still releasing them in that sensical order anyway, which seems like a rarity at times with the Marvel Comics events like this. The next one I have here is Savage Avengers issue number 4, and I know what you guys are thinking. You guys are probably thinking, hey, that came out a couple of weeks ago, right? Well, my local comic book shop, actually, they got shorted on their order and didn't get them in, and they finally got that in this week, so they got that pulled for me, and I can't wait to get into this comic book. Savage Avengers has been absolutely great. The story is building in a way that I really like. The first couple of issues were kind of like, okay, like where's this going? But it's really starting to pick up now, and I'm liking what Jerry Duggan is doing there with the Savage Avengers so far. The next one I have here is the last one in this series, and that is Spider-Man City at War. And as you guys can see right there, that is part of the Gamerverse. This is actually based on the Spider-Man PS4 video game, and it just kind of expands on that story just a little bit. But a lot of the story that we're getting in this book is the same story that we got through the Spider-Man PS4 game. If you guys haven't played that game, you should get out and play it. It's a pretty sick game, man. I don't really play a whole lot of games, and I don't really ever finish a whole lot of games, but that's one I actually finished pretty quick once I actually started sitting down and playing it. The next one I have here is Guardians of the Galaxy issue number 8. Now, as you guys well know, Donny Cates has been writing the Guardians of the Galaxy. It's been a pretty good series so far. I am a few issues behind here. I think I'm on like issue number 5, so I've got some catching up to do, and maybe one of these times, maybe by the time we get to issue 10, maybe I'll just do a full like review of like the first 10 books or so, just to bring that to you guys, because you know, some of the things I don't feel like I have to review as much, but if you guys want me to review them, I am a comic book review channel as well, so please let me know down in the comments if you'd like me to do some reviews on these, because I don't feel I have to review every single book that I do, because there's some of them, there's other content creators out there doing reviews on them too, and sure, I can bring my own unique twist to some of them, but again, you know, I just don't review every single book that I read. The next one I have here is Marvel Comics Presents issue number 8. Now, in case you guys don't know, these ones, if you guys aren't into really reading comic books, these typically have just short little stories in them, just a few different stories in each one, just kind of expanding upon just the stories that they have done in some of the previous issues. Some just kind of different things going on in these books. They haven't really been bad at all. I honestly can't really complain. But the next one I have here is one I absolutely love, and that's Superior Spider-Man issue number 10. Now, you guys have probably heard me flap my gums about this, man. Christos Gage doing a good job over there writing the Superior Spider-Man character. I don't know what it is about Otto Octavius as Superior Spider-Man. In case you don't know, that's who Superior Spider-Man is it just works. He seems to work as the Superior Spider-Man. He kind of goes through a lot of the same things like Peter Parker Spider-Man does, but in a different way, because Otto Octavius is definitely a very different person, and I like his unique personality and what he brings to the table as the Superior Spider-Man. Again, a very good book. I've been loving it. I really have absolutely no complaints about the series whatsoever. Now, the next one I have here is on a smaller indie publisher that is going to be on Titan Comics, and that is Blade Runner 2019 issue number 2. Now, I did get a chance to read the first issue of this, and I really did like what they did in the first issue, just setting up the world that we're getting ready to get ourselves into. In case you don't know Blade Runner at all, it even does a little bit of setup for that, because it's been a while since I watched the first Blade Runner, and I haven't even seen, the Blade Runner 2049 that they did not too long ago. I didn't get a chance to watch that, so I do like what they're doing in this story, though. I like the first book. It was pretty well written. The art in it was really good, so I'm looking forward to get my eyes on this issue number 2 as well. The next one I have here is one I absolutely love. Like, issue number 1 of this was absolutely great. That's on IDW Comics Kanto issue number 3. I'm hoping that this one is just as good as that first issue was. The second issue dropped off just a little bit. It was a little less wordy than the first issue was, but there was a lot to be told just through the pictures in there. And I think that's something I liked about the book is, you know, sometimes you got to get in there and you look at the art and you let the art do some of the storytelling. And I really like what they've been doing in this book. I can't wait to read this issue number 3. And in case you guys haven't seen here on the channel, man, I've been getting a little more into these indie books, man. Big 2, Marvel, DC. You guys need to step it up, man. You need to step up some of that production value in your books, because I'm telling you, you're losing me on some of these things, and it's not that they've been doing a terrible job. I've just really been liking some of these indie books that have been coming out. The next one I've got here is on Aftershock Comics, and that is Bad Reception, issue number 1. Now, this is obviously a number 1, something I've never read before. I don't even know who this writer is, Juan Doe. I have absolutely no clue. Just the whole thought of this kind of intrigued me, and you can just see there, like, I seen the cover and I kind of read about it, but I mean, Bad Reception. I mean, look, you see a bunch of those cell phones there. They have no signal, and you see it looks like they're got that like wedding cake on there, like a wedding reception, right? Whoa, man, I got you guys there. But I don't know. I thought it sounded like something kind of interesting. You can see it's all kind of slashed up and bloody looking. I don't know. I guess we'll see how it turns out. But that's all I've got for my comic book pull list this week. Let me know down in the comments below. What do you have on your pull list? And what of these comic books would you like me to talk about more on my show, The Trailer Park Live, this Friday? In case you don't know, I do a live show every single Friday night called The Trailer Park Live, in which I get a little bit rated R, but I talk about some of the comic books I pulled for the week, and then I get in and discuss some of the things that have happened throughout the week in comics, movies, and even music on occasion. And every time you guys show up for that, it's a good time every single time. I thank you guys so much for your support. You guys, the viewing audience, are what makes that show. Thank you all so much for tuning into the Second Street Marvel today. If you haven't already, please make sure you're subscribed. Click the little bell so you get notifications anytime I've uploaded new content. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you don't, hell, give it a thumbs down. But that seems a little bit odd. And also, if you could do me a huge favor, make sure that you share this video with a friend and invite them to come hang out with us here on the Second Street Marvel. You all have a very good day. Have a great rest of your week. Happy reading, and we'll see you in the next video. Later.